Public hearing related to the W.R. Paynter Elementary School building project. My name is Dr. Anthony DeCesaro. We have other board members here with us today, Ms. Amanda Priano, Mr. Rob Oxane, Mr. Pete Giglione, and Mr. Jerry Pantone are also in attendance today. I'd like to thank you for being here today. Any commentary that we have, any comments or people who want to have commentary, they're required to register in advance of the meeting. There were no signups at this time. I invite comments from those in attendance, and we will be invited to call in as well after public testimony, which happens later in the evening, and I will make sure that we get to that, obviously. Public hearing information is posted on the website and is available here for in-person attendees as well. If you would like that, just let us know and we can get that to you. Tonight, we will have presentations by our solicitor, our superintendent, our architect, and the financial folks that are involved in this project. With that, I would like to pass the microphone to Ms. Amy Zundel, our solicitor, for some of her comments.
All hear me? This hearing will be conducted in compliance with Act 34 of 1973, codified at Section 701.1 of the School Code. The major purpose of Act 34 was informational to ensure that certain facts and details of a school construction project are known to the public. When a school district plans to build a new school building or expand an existing school building by more than 20% of its architectural space, the school district must take 3 steps. First, they must approve and publish a maximum building construction and project cost. A resolution to this end was approved by the Baldwin-Whitehall School Board on November 4th, 2020. Second, we must convene the public hearing that is being held tonight in the format of a legislative hearing with 20 days notice that was provided to the public. Third, the school district must provide a printed informational booklet, which is the booklet that President DeCesaro had mentioned. It is available here for anybody attending. It has also been posted in advance of this hearing. Included in the information booklet connected to the Paynter School Building Project at page 3 is the form of a public notice, which appeared in the newspaper on November 6th, 2020, in compliance with the school code. The booklet was released in the news media. It was also made available for inspection at the administrative offices of the district beginning November 9th. Accordingly, upon review of the school code and applicable regulations of the State Board of Education, this public hearing may be duly constituted and properly conducted pursuant to law. Next, I'd like to take just a few moments to review the ground rules for citizen comments. I know we don't have an extremely large crowd here, but I did want to remind anybody that is presenting comment in person, you're asked to wear a mask or a face covering throughout the entire hearing. You're further asked to respect at least 6 feet of physical distance from yourself and others that are not a part of your own household. And we appreciate your cooperation in helping us comply with the various state mitigation orders that are in place. There's a court reporter here.
I'm sorry, you were done. Go ahead.
It keeps going. There is a court reporter here that will be taking down everything that is said, including statements of the presenters and public commenters. Therefore, we ask that you please speak clearly and loudly enough for the court reporter to hear you. We ask that you state and spell your name. This is particularly important for those that are calling in because the audio will not be as clear as if you are in the auditorium with us. We ask that you keep your mask in place if you're presenting an in-person comment, covering both, again, your nose and your mouth in compliance with the various COVID mitigation orders. During this session, the district will accept statements on the topic only relating to the Paynter School Building Project. Unrelated comments can be made at the school district's next board meeting, which is scheduled for December 9th. Each commenter will be permitted to speak for 3 minutes. Sign-ins were required prior to the start of the meeting, but as the president has indicated, we will be taking comments from the floor and from call-in commenters. If a person wishes to speak for longer than 3 minutes, They will be given the opportunity to return and provide that comment after everybody else has presented their comment. Written comments or testimony will also be received by the Secretary of the School Board in the Superintendent's office until Wednesday, January 6th at 1 p.m. The board does ask that written comments or testimony be detailed and explain whether the commenter is in support or has an objection to the project so that they can be given the full consideration that they deserve. Let's see here. I think that's it. I'll turn the microphone back over to President DeCesaro. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stundle. Appreciate it. Well done as always. Moving from project overview, we're going to Dr. Lutz. Dr. Lutz.
Thank you, Dr. DeCesaro. First, just to provide a few slides and details about the project. We've been very excited about this project and the opportunity it presents to advance the educational mission of the Baldwin-Whitehall School District, as well as provide for capacity issues that exist when we look at the future of enrollment over the next decade. So we know that the existing Paynter Elementary School is really educationally and operationally obsolete, that the physical plant and the site have just a number of deficiencies that really cannot be cost effectively remediated. We looked at several alternatives and several options as to how to move forward. And ultimately, we have what is a repurposed middle school there, and it has served us well. But as we look to move forward, really to design a building that is meant and intended for the elementary age child. The district being unable to fully implement today's educational program as designed and as we move forward. And I think that the times that we're in now with the coronavirus and remote learning, hybrid education has really expanded, we use the word transformational, but has really expanded the work that we do in schools to really have access to education anytime and anywhere. As I said, the building was designed as an open space junior high school building in 1970. While there have been improvements made for the elementary program, it really is still a really big middle school. And the building right now is overcrowded. It has a capacity of about 800. And the last year it was open, which was last year, we were sitting at about 840 students. And as I said, there's limited space to expand our growing population, and our demographics are expected to increase by approximately 20%. We looked at several options when we were looking to begin this project. The one option included renovating and adding on to Paynter as well as McAnulty. Those are our two really dedicated elementary schools, while we also have Whitehall. Whitehall is really at capacity with the space and the site plan. Talked about demolishing a portion of Paynter and adding on, or even demolishing the entire building and building all new. So we looked at a variety of different options. The option to build an all-new building for Paynter was chosen to address the aging physical plant, as well as the enrollment growth. When we looked at all the options, most cost-effective was looking at a total rebuild instead of a renovation. But when we looked through all of those options, we also chose to look at how we deliver our elementary program and the creation of a district-wide elementary centers approach with McAnulty, once we are reopened, McAnulty being dedicated to a kindergarten center, Whitehall Elementary being dedicated to a grade 1 and 2 center, and then the new building supporting grades 3 to 5. And I think it will really provide equitable facilities, instruction, support, and opportunities for all of our kids. And I think what was really important to the Board of School Directors is that all children will be able to experience all the buildings, and especially the new building. So at this point, I would like to push it to Mr. Greer Hayden, and let me make sure I get the microphone set up so everyone can hear you. Okay, Greer, you're on.
Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide that's on the presentation there that begins with the project design. And what this slide summarizes is the detailed description on page 10 in the project description booklet that was set out in advance of today's hearing. I wanted to speak specifically about some of the site features that the project will include. Obviously, with a new building, we'll be demolishing the existing structure. At that time, we have the
Can you turn that mic up in the back, please? Greer, are you still there?
Did we lose you?
You're there now. Can you try the sound, please?
Okay, hold on a second.
Greer, we may need you to speak a little louder as well, please.
Can you hear now? Hello?
Go ahead, try a little louder, Greer.
Can you hear me now?
Much better.
Okay. Let me go back. Let me back up then and speak to the slide that's up, which begins with the project design. This is a kind of a brief summary of what's in the project description booklet on page 10 that was set out in advance of tonight's hearing. With the new new building project, obviously the building demolition is a key component of the project, so the existing building will be demolished. That gives us the opportunity to redesign a lot of the site features on the project, beginning with separating bus and parent traffic, creating 216 parking spaces, improving the grass play fields, securing play areas, providing on-site stormwater management, and having native plantings around the property to enhance the property and comply with the buffer zones of the town of the borough. Some of the features of the program included in the project will be a 3-story classroom wing. Grade levels will be on separate floors. Core areas, the office, nurse, gymnasium, cafeteria, and music rooms are all grouped on the main floor. Special needs instruction classrooms are distributed throughout the classroom section. Areas for collaboration teaching or for each grade level are provided. Interactive learning technology in classrooms. An interactive library and makerspace. Some of the building features of the building include durable exterior and interior finishes, fully air conditioned, fully sprinkled, secure visitor entry, access control hardware, security cameras throughout, handicap accessibility throughout, and then we're employing green design principles throughout with sustainable site design, water efficiency, energy conservation, and indoor environmental air quality. As well as a tornado safe room will be part of the design as well. Moving on to the next slide is the proposed site plan of the project. The large toned area in the center of the slide is the footprint of the new building. We have set the building back from the current Paynter School another 187 feet. Stepping that back from the front allows us to create parking and bus and parent circulation in front of the building. On the west side, the existing parking lot along the west boundary line of the property is being retained and improved for parking. And the rear parking area on the south side of the site is also being retained and improved as part of the project. The play fields will remain in their same location. Those are being improved by grading and drainage to create a football, soccer field size, as well as a softball field overlay over the one corner of the property there for the play fields. We will have on-site stormwater management, as I mentioned. There's be an underground tank under the west lot. There will also be 2 surface ponds on the south and east sides of the property for water retention, filtration, before it's distributed back into the environment. The red arrows on the site plan delineate the bus circulation route from Pleasant View. Buses would enter the site from Pleasant View Drive, circle back through the back parking lot, back out along the curb line of the building along the west side for loading and unloading students. There's a concrete island between the two front parking lots that separate bus and parent traffic. Parents would enter and exit from Noreen Drive for arrival and dismissal times, where they can drop off students at the curb line and then back out to Noreen and then back to home. That driveway access is only provided for arrival and dismissal times. Otherwise, it'll be gated and closed after those times of day. There's an indoor courtyard that you see in the middle of the building, which provides daylighting to the interior classrooms, also provides outdoor enclosed space for classroom activities and other group functions. The gray-purple area is a fenced-in play area for students with playground equipment and rubberized and carpeted surfaces for outside activities during the school day. The next slide depicts the first floor plan of the building. As I mentioned, the upper part of the slide depicts a 3-story classroom wing. On each floor of the building is a grade level. Those grade levels have not been assigned yet, but each level has 16 regular classrooms. Distributed within the grouping of regular classrooms are special education spaces, large group instruction spaces for collaboration between classroom teachers and students, library with makerspace and gifted rooms adjacent to it on the first floor, the long linear lobby space corridor between the classroom wing and the main core area, which houses the gym and cafeteria, is our main entryway. It really creates almost area. On the front, near the front door, is the office area with a secure vestibule entry for visitors, controlled access. With a raised stage between the gym and the cafeteria, open depending on the usage of the day, and then a full preparation kitchen serving as many as 2 students at a time during the dining period. Behind the kitchen is the receiving loading dock, and behind that are our music rooms, which are grouped apart from the classroom structure, but in close proximity to the stage, cafeteria area for presentations, group functions. The next slide shows the floor above, which is our second floor. The group another grade level. On this floor, all rooms. And then continuing on to the next slide, the third floor includes another grade level of classrooms, pretty much repetitive of the rooms below, but for another grade level. And this also includes another large group instruction room for this floor as well. The next slide depicts some of the materials that we've been looking at to, again, borrowing on some of the materials from the homes in the area with the brick materials, some concrete masonry units interspersed within those elevations, and then some metal panels that reflect some of the work on top of the third floor areas as well. So it gives you an idea of where the thought process is in composition of the building, heights, and materials as well. Falling over to the capital cost of the project. These are a summary of the costs that are detailed on pages 16 and 17 of the project description booklet. But the maximum project cost that was advertised, $51,858,941 was the maximum project cost. That includes all costs for the project, construction, site development, utility fees, furniture, technology, surveys, design, financing, etc. That was published in the ad as well and is found on page 17. If you look on that form that's there, if you look in line I on that particular page, you'll see that dollar amount, how that was computed. Moving to the next slide, the other project cost that was published in the advertisement and as part of the Act 34 requirements is what is described as the maximum building construction cost. This cost was computed to be $44,177,800. This represents the cost for construction, insurance, furniture, and design costs. Does not include site development or any land acquisition cost. This is the cost figure that the board adopted for the purpose of the Act 34 hearing. And if you look at page 20 in the project description booklet, you would see how that number is computed. On page 15 of the project description booklet, this cost is measured against the Act 34 aggregate building expenditure standard. This number was computed to be $48,234,240, which is far above our Act 34 maximum building construction cost in the amount of $4 million plus. So the costs of the project are well below the expenditure standard set by the Act for this specific project. And that concludes my presentation at this point in time. Thank you.
Ms. Doyle available for us?
Yet Mrs. Doyle was on the line, and so,
Excellent.
Jamie, I have you slide up, and just let me know when you're ready for me to advance it.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. If you're following along in the hearing booklet, my portion begins on page number 21. I'm Jamie Doyle from Public Financial Management, Independent Financial Advisor for the School District, and our job is to determine the most cost-effective method to pay for the project. And so we first looked at cash or a short-term loan and determined that that was not feasible given the size and scope of the project. We then looked at the three long-term financing alternatives, which consist of the general obligation bond issue, an issue through a local authority, or a financing through the state public school building authority, and determined that the general obligation bond issue was the most cost-effective method of financing the project. The school district utilized bond insurance on the series of 2020 bonds that have already been issued for this project, and will consider the use of bond insurance on the likely two future issues that would be needed to fully fund the project. The cost of bond insurance increases the size of the issue, but reduces the interest rate that the district must pay, and therefore results in lower debt service. The district also utilized a wraparound debt service structure on the 2020 bonds and consider a similar structure on the future issues to fully fund the project. And we've provided in the hearing booklet 3 tables beginning on pages 23, 24, and 25. Table 1 illustrates the series of 2020 that has already been issued in the amount of $9,685,000, and then an estimated series of 2021 to be issued in the future of about $9.8 million. And Table 3 illustrates an estimated series of 2022 in the amount of $30,700,000. The good news is that the state will share in the cost of the project. PlanCom moratorium has been in place, but the district got in line for state reimbursement while the PlanCom window was open, and so this project will be assigned state participation of $8,241,700. That equates to a reimbursement percentage of 15.89%. That percentage is then multiplied by the district market value aid ratio of 63.2%. And when you multiply those two percentages together, you get 10.04%. In other words, for every dollar the district spends on the project, the state will reimburse them 10.04 cents on the dollar. Next slide, please. There are some indirect costs estimated to be associated with the completion of the project in the way of support personnel and additional custodial supplies for a total of $80,000 annually. Assuming a mill currently brings in $1,918,000, the indirect costs will have a millage cost of 0.04 mills annually. And then the total millage impact of the project is broken out into each of the 3 bond issues that I just detailed. If you add those up, it's For the bond issues, it's a total of 0.89 mils, plus that little bit of indirect cost that we just looked at of 0.04 mils, for a total all-in millage impact of 0.93 mil. That concludes my portion of the hearing, and I will turn it back to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Doyle. Much appreciated. This time, we're going to move to public testimony. Is there anyone in attendance that wishes to speak? Seeing none. Anyone who would like to call in to voice their concerns or, call us at 412-885-7949. That's 412-885-7949. As Mrs. Undle mentioned earlier, you will be held to a 3-minute time schedule, and we'll wait for you to get on the line. And Mr. Green, let me know if anyone's there. Thank you. Jeopardy music. It's probably appropriate. Mr. Green, seeing no one, correct? Ms. Zundel, do you believe it's appropriate for us to continue? Or would you like us to wait longer?
So let me ask this. Are you able to see how many people are viewing the live stream? Yes. How many? Okay, we'll just make one last.
Again, if anyone would like to call in for public testimony, for comments, questions from the public, we are awaiting your call. And if not, we will be moving on. Give you another 30 seconds. Hey.
I just think Greer and Jamie did such an outstanding job. There are just no questions.
I have to give Jamie credit for that.
What was that? Did you hear that? Mr. Green, still seeing none? Keeping in mind that you can submit written comment or testimony until January 6th at 1 p.m. And that will go to Ms. Thea Hampsay at the superintendent's office until then. And that's Wednesday, January 6th at 1 p.m. Seeing no one else is to speak, I'd like to thank everyone involved with the project, working incredibly diligently, and I hope everyone out there is staying safe. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and as of right now, we are adjourned. Thank you one more time.